Hello everyone and welcome back to Intro to Python. My name is Anish Pai and I am your host today. Today's lesson we are going to be looking at functions. Last lesson we did the second type of loop called for loop, and you were given some homework. The homework was to write your name, say your name has X number of letters or X number of A's in it. So I hope everyone went home and tried to do this. And now I'm going to present the solution to you. So basically, what you had to do was I'm going to remove all of this, move this line real quick. So basically, all you had to do was you had to give num0 if letter equals to a, then you had to say num equals to num plus 1, and then at the end of this you would have after at the end of the for loop you would have to say print num. So if I run this code again, oof, my bad, I wrote something else. If I was to run this code again, Anish, you're 1. If I was to, and so on. I was to run it again with Alicia, 2. And this would keep working. Hopefully a lot of you got tried and solved it. Though for those who didn't get the solution, don't worry, this is still the start. You have a lot of time to improve. Now, let's move on straight into today's topic. Today we are doing functions. So, for those of you who don't know what a function is in coding. I know it has a lot of different meanings. In math, it means something else, and in English, it means something else. A function in programming is a block of code that you have to call and doesn't straight away run. So, why is this useful, you ask me? Well, let me give you. Okay, how about we start with the problem again? I love that approach. So, let's say you are given two numbers, yes, and you have to multiply those numbers. Then you have print the answer 5 times, or okay, let's just say 3 times, and every time you print it, you have to add the first print 4 to the next print, and 5 to the next print. Now, from the knowledge you all have, how would we do this? We would take in the input, so we would obviously do num1 equals to print input, say num1, and we would close this again, then we would do the same thing for num2, so num2 equals to input, so num2 here. Now, how according to you guys would be the quickest way to do this? Right now, we would obviously create a new variable, so answer equals to num1 times num2. Then you would say print num1 plus 3. Then you would again say print num1. No, sorry, not num1. Why did I write num1? Print answer plus 3. Print answer plus 4. Then you would say print answer plus 5. Correct? But what if I told you there was a more efficient way to do this? So obviously this would work. So if I ran this, what did I do wrong? Ooh, now, and this is rule number 1, don't put numbers. How could I forget? Yes, num1 is 5, num2 is 4. There are our answers, relatively simple. But You remember something we taught you while we were doing while loops in Python or in coding in general? You never want to keep repeating the same code, or you never want to write the same code again, because that makes your code less efficient. And here, I'm afraid we're doing the same thing. We keep writing print answer, print answer, print answer, when we could just avoid doing that, right? Yes, but could we do that through a while loop? No, because we're not doing the same thing again. And could we do that through a for loop? No, because you don't really have to iterate to the input. You just have to do stuff to it. Correct? So this is where we can use a function. So again, a function is a block of code that takes parameters and does whatever's in those parameters based off the specifications that you're given. So how do you write a function? Well, obviously, let's remove this part. Let's just hash this part for now. By hash, I mean just make it a note. I don't know how many, if you remember, but this is how you make notes. Basically, this means I don't want this part of the code to run. So basically, the way you have to create a function is through defining it. And in order to do that, you write def, let's call the function give answer, then you have to give parameters. And in the parameter, I need to take number one, number two, and finally add num, whatever number needs to be added. Correct? And then colon. Okay, a little confused? No worries. So let's just say, tell me what this means. Def means define, which is what you've read before writing a function. Give answer is the name of a function, and num1, num2, and add num are the three parameters I need to solve the function. I get it, this might still be a little confusing, but I promise it'll get easier as we're writing this. So then I would say answer equals to num1, so num1 times num2 plus add num. And I can simply say print answer. Now with this run, let's see what happens when I run this. Nothing happens, right? Why does nothing happen? Remember, I said function is a block of code that that only runs when you ask it to run. And here we haven't really asked it to run. We've written the function. And do you guys understand what I mean when I say written the function? When I say num1, num2, add num, these aren't the same as these variables here. Num1, num2, num could very well be A, B, and C. And all I'm doing is saying A multiplied by B. So I'm saying my answer is A multiplied by B plus my answer is equal to A times B plus C, which is the general formula of what we have to do. This is like writing a formula, example, the Pythagoras theorem, which is A square equals to B square plus C square. And that formula works everywhere, regardless whether you have the numbers or you don't have the numbers. So then what we can do is we can actually call the function. And when I say call, I basically mean tell it to run. How do you do that? Well, all you do is copy the name of the function. So give answer, and you write it here. So I say give answer, and I can simply write num1, num2, num and num1, num2, and 3. And I can say give answer num1, num2, 4. Give answer num1, num2, 5. Now, I know some people may argue, Anish, this is actually longer than what I wrote before, and this was actually shorter, making it faster, making it more efficient, and you have still copy pasted stuff here. Yes, that's true. But the thing is, I haven't actually copy pasted any of the logic. I'm still doing the same thing. Therefore, it makes the code a lot more efficient because here, computer will print answer plus 3. There's a new formula here, then there's another formula here, then there's another formula here. But when I'm just calling the function, it's going back to the same thing they were doing in the previous one, therefore making it more efficient. And while this might not be that big a difference between this top code and this bottom code, as you write more and more stuff, and as you make your formulas a lot more complex. So if I was to say answer plus p, then answer 2 equals to answer multiplied by, yeah, let's say you had to then get the number within 452. Let's say the question asked us to actually square root all of the numbers that we got. So then you would have to do answer times answer, and after square rooting it asked us to cube the numbers. So we would say answer 2 equals to, no, answer 3 equals to answer 2 times answer 2 times answer 2. So yeah, oh, okay. I'm sorry. I feel like that was a bit confusing from my end. So what I've done here is, in order to show why this is useful, I get it. I understand for this particular question, it's probably the same thing to whether I say give answer and write these lines, or I just simply say this. But what if the question asked you to take two numbers, multiply them, add them together, then square root the number, and then cube root the number? You would have to write all of this, and then you would have to take all of this and write it for each and every individual print statement. And that would take that long, then that would take that long again, and I have to write the same thing again here, making my code much longer than what I could achieve by just writing all of it once and then simply calling it again. So for now, I'm just going to remove all of this, remove answer 2, move answer 3, and just going to simply have answers, and let's see if it gives us the same value that we got in the previous one. Hopefully it works. Num 1 5, num 2 4. I think there you've gotten the exact same answers, but with a more efficient form of code that is a lot more dynamic, because again, it's constantly changing within it, which is something we always seek in programming. Thank you for watching, and this was Python Intro lesson 6. I mean lesson 7, sorry, and this was functions. Hope you all have a great day. If you want to practice a little more at home, try creating your own functions, try making them a little bit more complex, give yourself harder sums. We will see you next time. Bye.